I want to tell you about Robin. Before she found the Empowered Business Society, she was buying every course, every workshop, every tool that promised to move the needle, and none of it did. She said the experts she was following were giving her completely contradictory advice, and she had no idea who to listen to. Then she had one real conversation with me inside the membership, and she said it changed her whole trajectory. That's what EBS is built for. It's not another place to pile on information. It's the place where creator business owners actually implement, get real feedback, and stay current on what's working right now in the AI era. We do monthly Get It Done weeks, live coffee chats, member show and tells, and exclusive training that drops straight into the community. Members like Robin, Julie, Anna Joy, and Lane aren't just learning, they're building and growing businesses that are ready for what's coming next. If you're ready to stop figuring it out alone, EBS is $49 a month and you can cancel anytime. Come check it out at society.empoweredbusiness.co and let's build something meaningful together. The link will be in the show notes. Now let's dive into today's episode. A few years ago, I was staring at my newsletter stats thinking, this is not working. I was doing all the things, consistent sends, good content, nurturing my list the way every expert told me to, and the revenue just wasn't matching the effort. I know I cannot be alone in that. And neither was my friend, Dr. Destini Copp, which is exactly why I wanted to share her presentation from our recent AI That Sells event with you on the podcast today, because what she did next is where things get interesting. Destini is a full-time MBA professor and a serial entrepreneur running two brands, Hobby School and her Creators MBA brand. And when she hit that same wall with her newsletter, she didn't just try a new strategy. She put on her marketing professor hat and did a 6-month deep dive research study on what actually makes newsletters convert into revenue. What she found completely changed how she approaches email. She started studying newsletters like The Hustle, Morning Brew, and The Skim, the ones that had sold for millions of dollars, and she built a system around what they were doing that most of us are not. In this presentation, she walks you through her mini magazine method and her teach and pitch framework. And then she shows you exactly how she has automated the entire newsletter writing process using Claude so that Claude Cowork can literally write her full branded HTML newsletter on a Sunday morning while she does other things. This is one of those presentations I wanted you to hear in her own words. So here is Destini Copp.
First of all, I want to let everybody know that I built these slides using Claude. So I basically told Claude what I wanted to talk about today, and I put all the information in there. And I took that information and put it in the Gamma app, and it literally built these slides in a minute. Another kind of AI trick, because I know we're in an AI summit here, and that has also been another game changer for me. But again, super excited to be here today. And I'm going to be talking about the newsletter funnel, how to turn AI or how to use AI to turn your subscribers into buyers. And I have a complete system on this. For those of you who may know a little bit more about me, I got really obsessed with newsletters a few years ago, and I did a deep dive 6-month research study. So I put my marketing professor hat on, did a deep dive research study, and from that research study, I came up with my system, which I'm going to walk you through that today. And I'm also going to walk you through how I'm using AI in that system, because that's what we're here to learn about. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Destini Copp. I'm also a full-time professor in an MBA program here in Atlanta and a serial entrepreneur. And I have two brands that I own and manage. I have my Hobby School brand, where we do online learning virtual summits every single month in all types of fun hobby type niches. And then I have my personal brand, which is my Creators MBA brand. And two of them we're going to be talking about today, the mini magazine method and the teach and pitch method, because that's specifically related to newsletters. And then for my overall kind of overarching framework that I teach is called the Creators Growth Flywheel. So if you ever hear me talk about that, is just basically a traditional marketing type flywheel on how you can build the recurring revenue in your digital product business. And my mission that we're going to be focused on today is helping you build a newsletter that makes money every time you hit send. So here's what we're going to talk. I'm going to talk about the two core reasons that most email systems and newsletters don't convert and how you can fix them. I have the 2 methods that I'm going to be walking you through. We're going to talk about the AI layer, so how you can plug AI into this to implement it faster and also stay consistent, because I know that is really a pain point for a lot of us because we're so busy and we don't have a lot of time to spend money crafting these newsletters every single week. And I'm going to walk you through how to do a live audit and get a real score for your own newsletter so you know where you stand. Talked about this a little bit a few years ago. I was just so fed up with my email marketing and my newsletters, and I knew it wasn't working. I was doing everything that all of the experts told me to do. I was sending out that weekly newsletter. I was nurturing my audience. I was staying on top of their mind with my nurture content, and it wasn't converting into real revenue. Now, when I'm talking about your newsletter, I'm talking about that weekly newsletter that you're sending out to your audience. I'm not necessarily talking about the launch emails or emails that you send when you have a flash sale. I'm talking about that nurturing weekly newsletter. And basically what I did was I was like, what I'm doing is not working. Clearly, I'm putting all this time, energy, and effort into this newsletter, and it's not giving me the ROI in terms of revenue that I felt like all of that energy justified. So that's when I went and did that research study, and it really completely changed how I approached my newsletter and what I was doing in my newsletter. And in that study, what I did, I really went out of this online course creator business, the membership business, online businesses, and really looked at these larger type newsletters. And some of them had sold for millions. And I'm like, okay, they are doing something different that I need to really tap into. So I was like the Hustle, the Morning Brews, the Skim, those type of newsletters is the ones that I really did that deep dive. And what I realized was I didn't need more content. I have a ton of content. I have a podcast, I have articles and blogs that I have on my website. I had a ton of content. I just needed a better system to pull all of this together and monetize it. So that is what that 6 months of that research study revealed. Number one, I really changed my mindset about my newsletter, and I started treating the newsletter as a product and not a marketing channel. And that's a very key point here. Now, one of the things that I found in this research study that the newsletters that were successful were publishing on a consistent basis. We know that they were showing up at a minimum once per week. A lot of them had multiple issues per week, which is why even in my Creators MBA brand, I have started doing multiple issues per week. And they had a repeatable format. So a consistent structures that readers could recognize and rely on. And they had multiple revenue streams. So they were monetizing this newsletter in multiple ways per issue and not just necessarily one single call to action there. And my biggest takeaway walking away from that is you can make real money from your weekly newsletter if you structure it the right way. Like I said, some of these businesses that I researched in the study had sold for millions of dollars. So let's talk about this newsletter funnel. Now, again, these people are already on your email list, okay? So they're already in your world. You're already nurturing them. You're already interacting with them. And what I have found in that research study is that newsletter that you're sending out on a weekly basis needs to be structured in a way that builds trust and keeps readers engaged, either Cosmopolitan to come out or Glamour magazine to come out or State magazine or whatever you love. You would run out to that mailbox, grab that magazine, you would open it up. You might even like dog ear some sections because you love them so much. So that's the feeling that we want for people to have when they get our weekly newsletter. We want them to be excited about it. We want them to see your name in their inbox and be like, okay, I recognize that person. I know I love this. You want them to be expecting it. I have had situations where I was a little bit behind and maybe didn't send out my newsletter the day or the time that people were expecting it. Other kind of experience that you want people to feel is you want them to get your newsletter and open it up and feel like, okay, there is really good information in this. I need to save it in a special Gmail folder so I can come back to it. And I have newsletters that I get on a regular basis. And I'm like, I actually got one this morning. I'm like, oh, this was good. I need to save this because I need to go back and test this out later. It was something about the new feature in Claude about the design. I'm like, okay, that was a really good tip that I have. I'm going to save this. And I put it in a special Gmail folder. So when I'm talking about that mini magazine method, what I'm talking about is like 3 to 5 sections, like a mini magazine, if you would, 3 to 5 sections in your newsletter that are fairly consistent. Now you can mix it up a little bit, but I'll give you some examples here. So an example would be like for me, I have in my personal brand, I have my Creators MBA show. So a lot of times what I'll do in my Sunday newsletter, I will reference one of the podcast episodes, tease it if you would. And that's one of the sections that I have in my newsletter. I might have a hot tip type section and I go into details. So having those kind of consistent sections in your newsletter, number one, makes it easier for you to write. And it also makes it easier for you to monetize because let's just talk about this a little bit. Let's say that you have a tool section in your newsletter and you're an affiliate for a particular kind of tool in your industry. Maybe it's like a meal planning or something like that. You can talk about that, give your readers some really good educational information about that meal planning app and have your link in there to monetize it. It's just a little section, but a really good way to not only to educate, but also to pitch, which brings me into my next point here. So my teach and pitch method that I teach in the Newsletter Profit Club is really that conversation layer that is woven into the sections of this mini magazine that I'm talking about. And you can have multiple kind of things that you are promoting in a newsletter. I don't like to have 10 things there, but you can have multiple things that you're promoting there. All of those newsletter businesses that I reviewed in that research study, they had multiple ways that they were monetizing. It might be an affiliate link. It might be one of their own products. It might be a sponsorship. So the mini magazine method is 3 to 5 content pieces per issue. So 3 to 5 sections, if you would. It's a very structured, recognizable format. So your readers know what to expect and they look forward to it. And the other benefit of this is monetization feels very natural. So again, teaching section, you can have a content piece in there. Just to give you an example, in both of my brands, I have Shopify stores. So sometimes I'll have a featured offer in there and it may be something that points to my Shopify store or an affiliate offers. It's placed very naturally in that newsletter. A quick win type section, give them some actionable insight that they can apply immediately, and then you can give them a resource or a tool. So when you go in to name your sections in your mini magazine issue, these are just some of the things that you can think about in pulling it together. But here's a tip too. AI can help you name these sections. The AI can help you come up with the names of all of this. Now, for the teach and pitch method, I would say that one of the mistakes that I see a lot of people make is in their newsletters, And what I tell people is you need to be very specific on the action that you want your readers to take. And don't make the assumption here that they're going to automatically know what to do. So what you would do in those mini magazine sections is you would teach, right? You would share a tip, a strategy, a story, something that solves a real specific pain point or problem for them. And then you would bridge that into something that you offer that takes them to the next level, takes them to that next step. And then you're going to pitch them. So whatever you want that next step to be, you're going to tell them exactly what that is. Let's say that you're teaching them a story, you're bridging it into something, and the next step is you want them to go sign up for one of your free gifts, which leads into a tripwire funnel. That's another way to monetize there. People love free gifts, and you're really just taking them on that very specific customer journey, talking about the newsletter funnel. So what I love about this is that this feels like a conversation, right? You're helping them. You're taking them on that bridge, if you would. And then you're saying, here's your next step. And then if they decide, let's say that you're doing like a free gift there, they sign up for it. The next step, you're offering them the tripwire. And you can even give them a heads up. After you sign up for this, perfect way to take them on that customer journey. So here's a very specific example that I did in one of mine. So I had a strategy. So I was teaching them how to grow a list without ads by borrowing other people's audiences. So the bridge here that I had was a free collaboration tool, which led into a paid membership there. Another example was actually in hobby school. So we were walking the readers through creating a creative bucket list. And in that, we pitched a digital planner with a limited time discount. So if you want to plan out your bucket list, here's a digital product to help you do that. So another tip that I want to give you, and this is a mistake that a lot of people make, is when you are trying to plan your content for your newsletter, I want you to start with your promotional calendar. So let's say that you send out your newsletter every Sunday, and that's the schedule that you have. What I want you to do is in like a Google sheet, I want you to have a date there, right? The Sunday that is going out. You could do that for every single Sunday for the next 90 days. And then basically plan out, okay, here's what I'm going to be promoting. And you can do multiple things, right? Maybe I'll give you an example here. So I'm thinking about my hobby school one. Maybe we are going to be promoting our Art of Expression Summit. That's coming up next week. We're going to start promoting that in the Sunday newsletter. So that's going to be our anchor promo. I might promote like a digital product, or I might promote something that's going on in our Craft and Create Club membership, but outline in there what you're going to be promoting, because that's going to drive the content of your newsletter. And what I always like to do, let's say we're promoting the Art of Expression Summit, I will go pull content that we have done that's related to that. So in that particular event, we are promoting like watercolor painting, journaling, calligraphy. So as I write the newsletters where we are promoting that event, I will pull in content that relates to what's in that event, and I will give the value. I will nurture them. And I will say, if you want to take this a step further, go sign up for this event. So that's how the kind of teach and pitch method works. So you are writing or crafting that aligned content. And what I will say is with AI right now, having that aligned content, if you're pulling it from your website or if you're just writing it for your newsletter, it is so much easier nowadays because of AI. And then AI is going to help you write that bridge and take that customer on that journey there. So I want to talk about the AI layer, because I think this has been a game changer even for me in the past few months, because I think we have tools that we did not have previously to really automate all of this. I basically have that promo calendar that I just talked about. It's on a Google Sheet. I keep it super simple. I use a Google Sheet. I put in there what I'm promoting with all the dates of my newsletter. And basically, I have the content or the kind of the theme of that particular newsletter and everything that we might be promoting for that. There is a project in my Claude that only thing I have to do is just type in, write this week's newsletter. This is the date that we're going to be doing. And with the skill that I have set up in Claude, it will actually go pull that information for me on that Google Sheet. It will look at it. It will write the entire newsletter, because in that skill, I have a completely branded HTML newsletter already set up, already developed. It has everything related to my mini magazine method that I have for my newsletter, how I do the teach and pitch section. So it knows exactly how to write it. I have given it a ton of examples of past newsletters. And honestly, I think wrote almost perfect newsletter. When I went to go look at it, I'm like, I really don't have to change very much here. Just like a little thing here and there, but it was almost perfect. So I used Claude to write that full newsletter. And the other thing that you can do, super hands off, you can use Claude Cowork so that this runs on your computer. Once you get that skill to where you want it to be and you're comfortable with it, you're like, okay, this is working for me. You can have it set up so that Sunday morning, if you want to have it run then and you come to work on Monday and review the newsletter that is written and just take that HTML and copy and paste it into your email service provider. Open up where Claude has posted that newsletter, copy and paste the HTML into Kit. I add my email subject lines. I will send myself a preview copy to my email, and I will also look at it on my desktop, and I'll look at it on my phone just to make sure all the formatting looks good, and then I will schedule it. The other thing that I've been doing is feeding all of my email performance data into Claude. So any click-through rates, open rates. So it goes through there and analyzes what's working, what's not working, and all the patterns. So that has also been very helpful. This has been a game changer for me. It has allowed me to increase the number of emails that I'm sending out. Like I said, I've added 2 new additions to my Creators MBA newsletter. I've added my Wednesday AI edition, and I also do edition on Friday that's related to my growth flywheel. But this process that you have on the screen here has been an absolute game changer. So here's a prompt. So if you're like, Destini, I just want to do this very easily using a prompt in Claude or a prompt in ChatGPT, here's a prompt that you can start with. I'm writing a newsletter issue and describe your audience. You can even give the AI some past newsletters so it can get familiar with you. I want to teach whatever tip or strategy that you're talking, and then naturally transition into promoting whatever offer. So help me write the teaching session in the bridge paragraph that leads into the offer without feeling salesy. So one of the key takeaways that I want you to walk away from here is that you can monetize and make money from that weekly newsletter. It is not just, I'm going to nurture my audience with my latest blog or my latest podcast episode or YouTube video and hope and pray that they're going to make their way somewhere to my website to buy my offer. We're not going to do that. We're going to be very specific and tell our readers what their next step is. Going back to that newsletter funnel, right? We need to be very specific on what we want them to do. Okay, so this system works. This is a system that will turn your newsletter into a profit center. If you recall at the beginning of this session, one of the key kind of mindset shifts that I took away from that research study is I needed to treat my newsletter like it was a product in my business. So you're building on that trust. You're getting that revenue in that 1 cent. You're not doing it in a pushy, salesy way. You are educating them, but you're also directing them to the next step. If you are hesitant, maybe you haven't started a newsletter yet, or maybe you've been inconsistent with your newsletter that you're sending out or your emails that you're sending it out, I will say that the tools that are at your disposal today will make this super, super easy for you. Also, the stone works, whether you have 100 subscribers or you're just starting out or you have 100,000. I have people in the Newsletter Profit Club that have 80,000 people on their email list. This structure that we talked about today is what turns your newsletter into that profit center. And that's what I want for you. So I would love if you could go to your phone or your laptop right now and just go to audit.destinicopp.com. I have 10 quick questions that you can answer about your current newsletter. And then let me know what it says. Email me back. I would love to know what your results are. I would love to know what questions you have regarding your newsletter. Like I told Monica, I'm a complete open book. So let me know what your audit results say. Now, no matter what your score, I want you to know that the path forward is the same 3 steps. You're going to structure your newsletter. So you're going to apply that mini magazine method to turn your issues into that experience that readers absolutely love. You're going to align your content to your offer. So you're going to start out with your promotional calendar. And based on your promotional calendar, then you're going to pull in that nurture content and use that teach and pitch method to take those readers on a very specific journey. And then you're going to use AI to stay consistent. And my friends, you are in the perfect place this week to learn about how to use AI. So 3 things to do this week: map out your promotional calendar, restructure just one issue, just start playing around with it. I will tell you that when I started going down this path and figuring out, okay, how do I want my newsletter to look? What are my sections? It took me about 6 months to get something that I was like, okay, this is working. I like this. It's working for me. It's working for the readers. So if it takes you a little while, that's okay. You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Monica, I am going to turn it over for questions. And
all right. We did get some questions. Erica says, Destini, do you have 2 to 3 newsletters that you recommend we subscribe to in addition to yours that provide good examples we can study?
Yeah, so I would start with some of the bigger ones. Start with Morning Brew, the Skim. Monica, you were at the newsletter conference with me. What was that one that they used as
the healthy one?
What was the name of it? I can't remember off the top of my head. I will say,
see if I can get it to come up in my Gmail.
Yeah, find that one. That's a good one for people to use, especially if they're in that healthy eating type niche. Basically, the Skim's another one that comes to my mind. Morning Brew, Hustle.
I also told them in terms of AI, my favorite AI newsletter, which if you're not on it, I think you would actually really appreciate it too. It's Everyday AI.
I think I'm on that one. I'm on so many of the AI ones. Ruben Husan, he's another good AI one.
I believe the one that we were talking about from the newsletter conference we were at is called All Healthy. Does that sound right?
It does sound right. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So just Google All Healthy. It should come up because I think that's what I did to get on his newsletter. Okay. So then I'm just going to go in order of how people ask. Gia, correct me if I say your name wrong. I don't like doing that to people. She says, do we first need to set up Claude Skills to seamlessly operate Cowork?
I generally recommend, or how I taught it in the program that I'm teaching it in, I taught people how to set up the project and put the skill in the project. And then when you go to Cowork, you can just pull it into your scheduled Cowork tasks. And that was super easy to do.
Yeah, because skills do sit on top of your entire Claude account. So the more it's interesting because I think sometimes it would make more sense for the flow if you get the skills in order, I would say first, and then because then it's just going to be more seamless for you.
I personally think the skill is the most important thing there because it is the brain of whatever you're working on. And I like to get that right first. And it's never perfect in the initial beginning. So you have to work with it. And once you feel like, okay, this is working, then I can automate it. So how I set up my automated process, I set up the skill to actually pull from the Google Sheet. So the Google Sheet is something I have to physically update. I have to go in there and say, okay, this Sunday we're promoting XYZ. Here's the content theme. Oh, my God, I forgot to tell you about this too. I forgot to mention this. The other thing that I did is I set up the skill so that I don't have to tell it to what blog or podcast episode to go pull from. It will actually go search my website and find the applicable content. It pulled from a podcast episode that was all about acrylic painting because we were promoting the Art of Expression Summit. I had forgotten about that podcast episode that I had done with one of our speakers. And it went to the website and found the exact kind of topic that was perfect for that newsletter. And I honestly would not even remember that it existed.
Okay, so you update in your spreadsheet, your promo calendar with the theme of what's going on. And then you have a scheduled Cowork task that...
Yeah, so I had in the Claude skill, it also does it in the Claude skill. So if I didn't want to use Cowork, I don't have to. But in Claude skill, I have the Claude skill written so that it will automatically, and I have Google Drive connected in that skill. So it will automatically go to that spreadsheet. And I also have it set up so it will go to my website in the skill and search for.
So if you don't use the schedule feature in Cowork, then you still have to kick the skill off somehow. I'm ready to write this week's newsletter, and then the skill gets called into the chat, and it does all these things because it's all built into the skill.
That's correct. So it really is like a one-line prompt. I just said, write Sunday's newsletter. Here's the date. It just went and grabbed that content from Google Sheet. It was crazy. It grabbed the content from Google Sheet. It went to my Squarespace website for hobbyschool.com, found that content and pulled it all in and wrote the HTML newsletter. I was blown away.
So for this event, I have Claude project set up. So in the files, I have the whole schedule, who's talking, all this stuff. This morning, I mistakenly slept in. And I was like, oh, I didn't write the email yet to let them know what's going on. And I've been writing all my emails in HTML like you. So I went into the project and all I said was, I need to write day 2's email, letting everyone know what's going on in AI that sells. That's all I said. And all the skills went off and it pulled the project files. And I literally got the email out 5 minutes after I opened my computer. It's crazy. This was just people who've been emailing our list for years and years. Honestly, even when I was using ChatGPT, my emails were a substantial amount of time of my weekly workload because I handle all my emails.
Especially I do it for my personal brand, Hobby School. My team does that, but yeah,
because Haley was writing my emails for years, and I took everything back over. I think last June, and I just remember through last summer, I was like, oh my gosh, my entire life is just writing my emails. That's all I did. And now I'm in this world that we live in, if you educate Claude properly and get these skills set up, open my laptop, be like, God, read today's email. And 5 minutes later, it's in everyone's inbox. Skills definitely changed the game. So then we have a question about, for someone starting out, which email marketing platform would you rationally suggest?
I've been using Kit for many years and it's worked very well for me. I do have a Substack, but I consider that to be more of a social media platform. tied into email marketing. I know some people really do. I have not tested that out myself, but Kit's kind of my preferred platform.
Yeah, we're in agreement on Kit. I also think for the most part with these email service providers, they all can accomplish what you need to accomplish. I think it's more that you get familiar with the one you're using. Like I couldn't imagine, unless Kit went out of business, you're not getting me off of it because just all the data and automations that we have built over the years are there. But I think they're all like pretty equal in what they can do. But I think I'm in agreement. I would start with Kit. I think it's easy to get up and running on it and to understand it. Then we have some people recommended Kit. What were the newsletters we recommended? Let's see. We have some people put it in the Morning Brew, The Skim, Hustle, Everyday AI, and All Healthy. Okay. So then Nicole says, say what? Newsletter done in HTML? As much as I use code block to have quizzes and forms done in HTML, why haven't I thought to do the newsletter in HTML? I think we were like, when we first discovered it, you discovered it first.
Yeah.
And then we both started with just doing like individual blocks. Like mainly we were still writing in the editor. And then it was just like a block of HTML to make it pop. And then we both were like, wait, we could just do this whole thing in HTML. Why?
Yeah. When I stumbled upon the HTML for sales pages, I was like, why not? Yeah, I could do this for blog posts. I could do this for podcast episodes. I could do this for email. The sky's the limit here.
How do we connect the Claude Skills, projects, artifacts, and Cowork? Just too expansive for me to synthesize calmly. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, my recommendation, and I will say that even for me, and I feel like I'm pretty advanced with all of this, relatively, as anybody could be at this stage, I would just start with a Claude skill, and I would go to chat, and I know, Monica, you're going to be talking about this on Thursday. I would just go to chat. And this is what I did just a few weeks ago before I had any skills set up. I just went to Claude Chat and I said, I want to build this skill for my newsletter or whatever. I just said, help me build this skill. It did it right then with just me having a conversation with it. That's where I would start. And once you get the skill set up, just have it saved to your Claude account. And I'll give you another tip. Let's say that you build a blog post skill. And you come back to it 2 weeks later and you're like, okay, this isn't quite right. I just want to change it. Go to the chat, have Claude pull up your skill and say, I want to make this change to the skill, and then tell it to update the skill for you. And then you're done. It really is that simple. And if you're just getting started, that's where I would start.
Yeah, I agree. When I first transitioned to Claude, it took a hot minute to wrap my head around what is a project and what is a skill. I will say in the collective classroom, there is a Claude migration workshop that I have. It's $55 and it basically walks you through how to structure this, because it did take a minute to because in ChatGPT, I had really high level projects. Like my entire Empowered Business brand was in one project. And Claude's a little bit differently. When you think of a project, think of something. It has reference files. So one of my courses has a project and it has everything in the files that's in that course, in that project. And then skills layer on top of all that. So skills get called in wherever it's relevant. So if I say I want to write an email on that course, I'm in the project and I'm like, hey, I want to promote this course now. It's going to reference the project files to understand what the course is about. And then it's going to call in my email writer and tone of voice for the skill. So skills are like a skin on top of your entire account. And projects are like reusable. Do you recommend bringing your Substack email list to your Kit list or keep it separate?
So there is a way, I believe, I've been told anyway, I have not done it myself, that you can, when somebody signs up for your Substack, you can have a zap to bring them into your like Kit account. I elected not to do that because I just feel like if people wanted to be on my Creators MBA email list, that they would sign up for it. But I do know that there are people out there that handle it that way. I treat Substack a little bit more different. I treat it more like a social media platform than an email platform. And I have on my Substack that if they want to sign up for my Creators MBA email list or newsletter, they certainly can.
Next we have, where did we just leave off? Substack. I have been having issues learning Kit since I started with a different one. Kit does not seem to be intuitive to use. That's an interesting point. I think I've been just using it too long. I don't know if I could even comment on it because it's really intuitive to me now, but like I'm 10 years in. Do you think it's intuitive?
I'm probably not a good person to ask because I've been using it for so long. And I think it's almost like any other tool out there. You just got to get in there and start using it. I think the easiest way for me to describe it is for your newsletters. Now, if you're sending out an automation, let's say somebody's signing up for one of your free gifts, you're going to probably have them in some sort of welcome series or automation there, depending on what you are doing, or maybe it's a tripwire type funnel. You would do that in the visual automations.
Yeah. And Sarah just said, and this is true, Kit has a full tutorial to start. It's really funny how a lot of us discount the fact that these big tech companies, they have really great trainings and courses on how to use their software because that they have to teach you how to use their platform if they want people to use it. I attempted to export my info from Chat GPT to Claude, and it is not working any recs. Mine took 48 hours. Hopefully one of you can explain to me the difference between a GPT and an AI agent. An agent does something for you. A GPT, you still have to engage with it. I can't. When I pull up a custom GPT, I have to be in the chat working with it. It's not doing anything for me. An AI agent actually accomplishes a task. The computer was on. It was creating my presentations for this week, writing my speaker notes with my tone of voice skill, and in another tab, it was creating the sales page for what I'm launching on Friday. And I was just sitting there petting the cat. I was not doing it. I did not have to work with it. It just went out. It took my direction, and it did. That's an agent. Let's see. I am confused between certain terminologies, newsletter, broadcast, email automations. A little help here would be amazing how an email marketing software would work.
Yeah. So your newsletter is something that you are going to go in and schedule at a certain time and a date. So generally, like for instance, for my Creators MBA newsletters, I have 3 editions set up. I have my Sunday one, and I send it out Sunday morning. I have my Wednesday one that goes out Wednesday morning, and I have my Friday one that goes out Friday morning. So those are my newsletters. Doesn't mean that I don't send other emails, because I absolutely do, but those are my newsletters. You will have other emails that you send out from your email service provider. As an example, let's say that somebody signs up for your free gift. You have it automatically set up in your email service provider that they are added to your email list, and they are most likely added to a sequence. Now, this sequence is going to deliver the free gift to them automatically. And you might even have some other emails in that sequence that might welcome them, talk a little bit more about you and your business, or it might even promote one of your offers if it's in a tripwire type retargeting sequence. That is all automated. You don't have to go to your Kit account or wherever and set up that email to send it out. It's just like automatically going to run for you. Okay.
I'm going to do a final call for questions. If you have anything else you want to ask Destini, and put it in the chat. You got a nice compliment from Nicole. She said, "Thank you, Destini. I always enjoy learning from you. You make everything feel so approachable." I love that.
Yes.
It's very nice. I am going to throw in the chat all the links too real quick. So is there anything else you want to add? Any final words, Destini, that you want to give?
Yeah, I'm just going to say to Nicole's point here, if you're just starting out, some of this sounds very complicated, is a lot to learn. I will say it's easier than what you think it is. So when you think about your newsletter, literally you can have AI help you write it, or almost write the entire thing for you, like it does for me. You just take that HTML and copy and paste it in your email service provider, and you're ready to go. So I would say that all of the tools that we have today with AI is making everything easier and faster. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, I just want you to know that I don't think you're going to stay there. I think it's going to be a very short learning curve for you.
Just go ask Chat. Go into Claude and be like, can you do this for me? And I every day, like, I'm blown away. There are just things I never would even attempt to do in my business that I'm like, I don't know, maybe it can do it. And then it goes out, the AI agent, right, goes out and does its magic and pulls it. So Claude has these things called connectors. I just want to touch on that real quick. So these connectors allow you to connect to other software. So in the beginning of the presentation, for example, Destini said that she was in Claude and basically said, I need to create this presentation. And she had connected her Gamma account. And it said, okay, and it knew to go connect to Gamma and create the presentation there for her. And you can connect Airtable. Where it really clicked for me was I took a call transcript for the next summit that I'm running. It was like a 45-minute call with my team. And in it, I just ran through everything that had to get done. I put the transcript into Cowork just to get it summarized. And it went and created an entire project plan in Asana because I had Asana connected. And I'm like, it just did it. I didn't even ask it to do it. It just was like, okay, we're going to need a project plan for this. And that's so really right now, sky's the limit. If you don't know how to do it, just go ask AI and it will even tell you like, I need access to this, or I need you to connect that. It tells you.
Can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is really another game changer that just happened this week with the Claude design stuff. I think I mentioned this, I really need to update my hobbyschool.com website because it's, I don't know. I threw it out there years ago when I first started that brand and it is extremely outdated. I went to the new Claude design feature that they launched this week and I said, here's what I need to do. Here are some things that I like. Here's what I need this website to accomplish. Can you give me some options here? And it did 5 wireframes for me and they were amazing. And I'm not completely done with it, but the next step, and I had to leave it and go do other things. The next step was, do you want me to go ahead and build this out for you in HTML? And my answer is going to be, why, yes, I do.
That's wow. Okay. So I pulled up design and I didn't do anything with it because I was like, oh, I'm in this deep world of doing this week that I knew I'd go down a rabbit trail, but you're liking design then.
I loved the options that it gave me. Like it gave me 5 different options and I went back and forth with it a little bit. And I said, I like this, but this isn't going to work. And here's why. What do we need to change? And we kept going back and forth on that. But I think I'm very close to the final kind of product there.
I did the sales page I'm working on for Friday. I started doing with Opus 4.7. And I do have to say, the websites were already looking great, but I do think Opus 4.7 has up-leveled.
And the Claude design feature that they launched like 2 days ago or whenever that was, I think it's a game changer for websites design and app design.
Maybe since I don't have my kids tonight, I will try to do the website in there. Maybe I'll be ambitious enough. We'll see. So do we manually write the newsletters monthly, weekly, and then schedule them?
Yeah, so you're not going to be writing. We don't write anything manual nowadays. So you're going to have the AI to do all of the heavy lifting for you. Doesn't mean that you're not going to give it direction because you are. You're going to build your skill in Claude is where I recommend. You're going to make sure that it's doing what you need it to do, but you're going to have the AI do your writing and then you're going to look at it and review it. Make sure it's good.
Yep. Okay. 2 people made comments. I'm going to put them together and this will be like our final word. In essence, the final thing is connecting Claude to external services. Do you worry about Claude doing things that it shouldn't do?
So I'm not worried about that because in the skill, you're telling it, I want you to go to this particular file. So it's only going to access that particular file. And then I told it, go to my hobbyschool.com website. That's a website anybody can go to. So yes, I'm not worried about that.
And when you send Cowork off to go do stuff for you, you can have it set permissions. It has to ask you permission before it does anything. So there's some things I let Cowork go off and do, but if it's going to touch anything sensitive, I do ask it to prompt me to approve it before. So you can Claude allows you to build in those layers of security to feel a little bit more protected. Thank you, Destini. I'm super excited about this. I have not really automated I'm using HTML. I haven't really automated it as much as you have. After this week, I think I'm going to put mine in Asana, like how you put yours in Google Drive or Google Sheets, I should say, but I'm very impressed. And everyone, I dropped all of Destini's links. Like she said, she does have a whole membership dedicated to doing this with her method. It's called the Newsletter Profit Club, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
And your website's destinicopp.com. Thank you, Destini, so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so if you listened to that and thought, I need to do this with my newsletter, I want to give you 2 places to go. First, Destini has a free newsletter audit over at audit.destinicopp.com. It's 10 quick questions, and it will tell you exactly where your newsletter stands right now. She personally wants to hear your results, so take the audit and email her back. That's audit.destinicopp.com. Second, if you are inside the Empowered Business Society, I have an AI newsletter workshop in there that walks you through exactly how to get your newsletter automated with Claude the way Destini described. We go through setting up your skill, connecting it to your promotional calendar, and getting Claude to do the heavy lifting on the writing so you are not starting from scratch every single week. If you are not inside of the Empowered Business Society yet and you want to join, head on over to society.empoweredbusiness.co. And a big thank you to Destini for sharing with our AI that sells audience. She is a genuinely brilliant marketer, and I learn something every time I am in the room with her, virtual or otherwise. You can find all of her links in the show notes as well. I will talk to you in the next episode.